The Traverse City Rotary Club is the greatest club in the world.
Rotarians are folks that can be depended upon.
I've seen service above self in action in so many different corners of our community and the world.
A century of people working for the greater good. It began on May 1st, 1920. With the Grand Rapids Rotary Club as sponsor, the Rotary Club of Traverse City was chartered. James T. Milliken, a dry goods retailer, along with other local businessmen and community activists, was president of the 24-member club, Northwest Michigan's first. Civic good and community improvement was its focus from the start. So too its appetite for risk-taking, a trait inherent in the founder's DNA and readily apparent to this day. Missionary zeal also resulted in spreading the seeds of Rotary. Within a few years, a handful of other clubs were chartered by Traverse City Rotarians. Small business entrepreneurs by nature, one of its first projects was creation of a camp for youngsters in the Boardman River Valley. To finance it, shares were sold in 1923 to club members, and Rotary Camps was formed. It would be on this property years later that oil was discovered. Camps would later become Rotary Camps and Services, stewards of club land, and later to assume a far greater role and responsibilities. With the Rotary culture of service above self, the club plunged into a variety of projects for civic good, building a lasting framework of community service. In 1942, the first Rotary show debuted to raise funds for growing club initiatives. Reflecting the era, it was called The Minstrel Show. Now in its 78th year, the popular spring variety show continues raising money for the club's Good Works Fund philanthropy. The Mighty Saints Chorus have enlivened the event over the years, from the popular Willie and Wally, Doug Linder and Jack Freethy, to George McManus, Leo Hughes, Frank Sisson, Mother Fred, and Brian Crow.
The money that the Rotary show generates does good work right here in this community for all of the 77 years of its history, and the Rotary Chorus is a major part of that.
One of the things that Mother Fred tells the community is that Rotarians are not afraid of having fun.
In the 1940s, Rotary's North Star, the four-way test, emerged. Developed by a Northern Michigan business consultant, it was donated to Rotary International to become an ethical guide for Rotarians worldwide.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Service above self.
Rotary is not a thing. It's not a person. It is really a way of life. And it has so many different ways of playing itself out, whether in business, with family, in community.
The Rotary culture is almost like none other that I've experienced, especially in today's world, because it's really a culture of acceptance of people for who they are.
As Rotary grew in Traverse City, the community grew with it, supporting building blocks kinds of projects.
This whole community is unbelievably a giving community. You can find help for whatever you need to do.
In 1976, Texas Tea, a free-flowing oil well, was discovered on Boy Scout Camp Grey Lick property. Since its conception, over $60 million in grants have been made over a 5-county region, and a $50 million foundation is the result of that discovery. Among the over 30,000 worldwide Rotary clubs, this asset alone distinguishes the club. A separate tax-exempt organization, Rotary Charities, was formed the next year, drafting what would become the tenets of philanthropy in northern Michigan. Club members comprise the Seminole Board with regularly elected rotation, a practice that exists to this day.
It's really easy to give money away. Giving it away wisely is the tough thing.
When they formed Rotary Charities as a separate foundation from the club, their brilliance has translated not just to almost $60 million of funding going back to our 5-county regions since the late 70s, but it also maintained the service above self ethic of the club. They could have easily said, we don't need to do the Rotary show, we don't need to raise money for international projects because we have all this oil and gas money. And they didn't do that.
The original emphasis was on funding capital grants, bricks and mortar kinds of investments, as well as incubating organizations like the Land Conservancy and Community Foundation. Purchase and renovation of the once shuttered Park Place Hotel proved a catalyst for downtown economic growth. Later grants would focus on water, education, the arts, regional growth, youth, recreation, nonprofits, and innovative overtures like public-private sector collaborations. Their evolution is reflected in the kinds of grants, capital to program, capacity building, as well as visionary long-term systems network building. Club members have been involved in every aspect, from personal grant investigations to actual decision-making and distribution of assets. This involvement is what makes the Traverse City Club different from the traditional Rotary experience. It's hands-on and personal, unlike any other Rotary Club experience in the world.
It's not just about the money, it's really been about, I think, Rotary's reputation. It's been about our connection capital. It's been about our social capital. It's been about having the ability to positively influence the community and its evolution in a way that would be most beneficial to as many as possible.
We have 50 different committees, and each one of those committees is in charge of some good works, whether it's taking place in Traverse City, or it's taking place somewhere in Grand Traverse County, or the 5-county area, or the entire world. 50 committees and 50 projects going on is a big deal.
Women have since played a critical role in perpetuating the Rotary culture, not only here, but around the world as well.
Women have become great Rotarians, and this club could not function without them, and I just see it as probably the greatest addition that I've observed over the years.
Change has now come full circle in the club, with an ever-increasing number of new and youthful professionals quickly and competently assuming leadership roles.
It's easy to fall in the trap of, well, we've done this, it's easy, we don't have to worry about it. But when you have new, younger people coming in, they're not willing to settle for that. That's what Rotary needs, and that's what will carry Rotary into the future.
Now, Rotary Square, a visible recognition, is planned for the downtown, the club's first attempt to publicly memorialize 100 years of service. Rotary lives here is the message it will emote.
100 years from now, I hope that Rotary is as relevant and as important and as much of a community service and asset as it has been for the last 100.
A century of leadership and adapting to the needs of the region through the lens of the 4-way test will undoubtedly remain a touchstone for the future. But so too will younger Rotarians seeking new pathways of service above self. No Centennial remembrance would be complete without acknowledgement of the club's longest-serving Rotarian, Jim Beckett. He joined the club in 1952 and has been an active, inspirational Rotarian ever since.
As a personal example of living the Rotarian motto and the 4-way test, he rises to the top. It's who he is, through and through.
That's true. We have 1.5 members in our club. Growing large. Man.
I have to admit, though, there's a secret part of me that I don't know why they couldn't have set a little money aside so we could have better lunches. But other than that,
Thanks. Got the first one right.
It was certainly one of the. Great, thanks. Perfect. What is that?
That's my phone. Can we stop just a second? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Service above self. This is hard. How do you say it differently? Service above self.
Rotary's motto is service above self.
Fabulous, fabulous. We're done.
So easy.
Now,
You will serve and you will enjoy it. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm Ross Childs, ROSSCHIL.
I love Rotary. That's it.
As long as my mouth is flapping, then it's fine.
Soundbite.
Yes.
Shtick.
you know, one of the things that really impressed me, I was just at the large club, wrong organization. I was.
Thanks guys.
that's what I want on my tombstone. That's for that microphone.